Greetings. My name is Mark Liebig. I'm a research soil scientist with the USDA Agricultural Research Service in Mandan, North Dakota. I'm going to give just a brief update about MAGGnet, which stands for Managing Agricultural Greenhouse Gases Network. This update is in preparation for the upcoming Croplands Research Group meeting on December 9th and 10th. So a little background on MAGGnet. It's essentially a network that facilitates research by compiling metadata from experimental sites across the world. This would be sites where soil carbon dynamics and greenhouse gas emissions have been collected, primarily focused on cropland sites, although we do have some grassland sites included within the network. This endeavor, I guess, was started with the thought that there was a need to have a go-to, location where individuals doing meta-analyses or modelers were looking for sites with specific types of attributes, and by having a collection of metadata, would serve to make their search more efficient and so forth. So this is about, it's a little over 8 years old. We've been functioning with the help of a lot of cooperators throughout the GRA to make it what it is today. And in terms of, functionally what it looks like, it's essentially a fairly extensive Excel spreadsheet that has 10 different worksheet tabs that allows then the investigator to be able to enter in some fairly standardized metadata that can be easily searched after being compiled. The whole purpose of the spreadsheet is to make it simple enough to where if the researcher had their peer review paper in front of them, they could go through and enter all the relevant metadata into the worksheet tabs within about 15 minutes. So we didn't want to make it too burdensome. We use a lot of very clear instructions. We have color-coded worksheets, and we use a lot of drop-down menus in order to facilitate ease of transfer of that information. As of this year, we have about 380 experiments across 23 countries included in MAGGnet, and you can see by the Google map right there is that there's some good coverage in some parts of the world, but there are clearly opportunities for improvement in others. And so we did sort of catalog the status of the network back in 2016 and published a short paper in Carbon Management. So if you're looking for more background about the network, I encourage you to look into that, or if you don't have access to that, just email me directly and I can send that to you. As far as activity related to the network since the last Croplands Research Group meeting, which was in November of last year, it's been not surprisingly kind of a quiet year. We do, however, have one contribution forthcoming from Italy. Matteo Francione has some sites that he would like to add, and so we're in the final metadata check of those sites, and we look to be adding those soon. As far as responding to metadata requests, it was also a fairly quiet year, but we did have, I think, really important contact through Marta Kamps-Arbestein. She was conducting a meta-analysis on soil carbon dynamics in mollisols, and we struck up a conversation by email in April, and that has evolved, and her project is continuing. And so I thought that to give you sort of a background about the meta-analysis she is doing, that I would share some slides that she prepared about the project, so that if it's applicable to your experimental sites, then you'd be able to contact her directly and potentially participate. So with that preamble, just sharing Marta's first slide. The title of the project is Managing Black Soils for the Future, influence of rotations with deep-rooted species on soil carbon stocks. What she is looking for in terms of data for this project is essentially three types of comparisons. One could be comparing the addition of a perennial phase in an annual rotation versus strictly an annual crop rotation. So in this case, you could see an instance where there could be a sequence of alfalfa that would cycle back to maize, but it'd be predominantly perennial versus a strictly a sort of a continuous maize, or it could be a maize soybean, or it could be other annual crops for that matter. But that's one example of a contrast she's looking for. There's also perhaps a more extensive comparison with respect to the effect of the perennial. In this case, a dedicated perennial versus an annual rotation. So in this case, this would be switchgrass versus maize and soybean, and so this is something that biofeedstock switchgrass that we've investigated a fair amount within ARS, something I'm familiar with anyway. But there are other perennial species out there that may apply depending upon the study directives and objectives and so forth. And then finally, the last contrast would be a contrast with an annual rotation that includes either oats or canola versus an annual rotation that does not include those two crops. And so those are sort of generally the three categories of contrast that MARTA is looking for her meta-analysis. As far as the data that is needed, soil organic carbon concentration at different depth increments down to at least 60 centimeters. So we're trying to capture a good portion of the soil profile. Certainly soil bulk density, very important to have, and then have enough time in treatment so that they can really begin to express their effect on the soil. So looking for a minimum of 9 years from the establishment of the crop rotation treatments. And of course, like many meta-analyses, you have to have complementary information on other soil properties and also the climatic or weather-related information that we often collect anyway, but it'll be important for her work. A little bit, a comment on the importance of bulk density. The carbon stocks will be calculated on an equivalent mass basis, and so you need to have the bulk density in order to do that, to complete that type of analysis. This is a Google photo or a picture of the sites. You can see that they are marked in light blue with the white circles. This is the current sites that have come forth to participate with MARTA on this project. So you can see there a fair number of sites in North America, Uruguay, looks like Argentina. We have some in North China, spread across Russia, Ukraine, and a few sites in Europe, Eastern Europe, and even looks like possibly Germany, if I'm seeing that correctly. But anyhow, there are opportunities here for others to get involved, and so I encourage you that if you have an experimental site where you're working with or situated on a mollisol or a churnism, I guess. In that case, I encourage you to reach out to MARTA. Her email address is listed right there, and participate. This is the type of project that really embodies the spirit of the whole GRA, of us working together across borders to develop something that we wouldn't be able to develop our own. And in my own interactions with MARTA, we're including some of the sites that we have here at Mandan. She's assured me that there'll be co-authorship, so we'll all be able to show a product at the end of the project. So again, I encourage you to reach out to MARTA if you have a site where you have the necessary characteristics. And so just a few acknowledgements: Massey University, Venegan University, the International Network of Black Soils with the FAO, And then, of course, anything that the GRA has been able to do, use our, I guess this is a platform in order to share with others. And certainly all of the individuals and institutions that have chosen to participate so far. So, all right. So with that, I'll leave you be. Take care. And I hope to see you December 9th and 10th.